Hello, and welcome to Spicy Toast Gaming. Thank you for tuning in to another Spicy Toast Gaming video. Today we're going to be doing a guide for the Galio adventure. We've previously done one for the Thresh adventure, and one of you lovely viewers requested one for the Galio adventure. So we'll be going through, showing the optimal path you want to take, and then also in the different fights, how you generally want to be able to approach them, and if there's certain spells or units you need to be watching out for from the enemy. So we'll be doing that today. We're going to use Vigar just as a champion that is a little bit slower so we can see the matches a little bit longer and keep an eye out for some of those important unit and spells. So we'll hop in here. If you guys like the video, definitely like and subscribe. We're putting out daily videos for Path of Champions, generally 2 videos or more a day. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member with that join button down below. Alright, so for powers, we normally don't copy or buff our units. If we did, it would be stress defense, which we don't want copied on more than one unit. Quick draw is not bad. We will try one more though. So it says your created cards cost 1 less. We will be creating some darkness, but most of them are going to be free. But sure, let's go with that. Don't want to use up all of our rerolls right here. So, Dauntless Vanguard, you're not able to avoid this, obviously, as it's the first battle. But round end, if one of the player's units died this round, the foe summons a Dauntless Vanguard. So, essentially, you don't want any of your units to die if possible. This can be rough if you're trying to play this with some units earlier on, especially those that summon ephemeral units every round. So if you're trying to do this with like a Gwen, Kindred, or Misfortune, those that have their units dying pretty much every round, that can be a bit rough. And the Dauntless Vanguard they're summoning, it's a 3/3, and it also has Overwhelm. Also, all battles have the round start grant the foe's units 1 health. So that is standard for the entire Galio adventure. So you don't normally want the opponent to have units on the board because they're just going to keep scaling up and getting harder to kill. The main spell you need to look out for here is single combat. So that is a unit. One of your units strikes one of the enemy units. So the enemy is able to use that to try to take out and kill some of your cards. I'm not going to be talking too much about Vagar, as while he is a lot of fun, this isn't really a guide about him, it's just more focusing on the adventure itself. Alright, I'm just going to pass here. We're doing this just so we can play our Vagar for a bit cheaper. We got rid of that since we knew we were going to create another one. So right here, if we didn't have this at burst speed and we tried to kill their unit, their single combat costs 2 mana. So anytime they have more than 2 mana, you need to look out for that. So right here, if this wasn't at burst speed and I tried to kill it, what they could do is single combat this unit strikes this unit. So it's already going to die anyways, but these 2 units would then kill each other. Since one of my units died, they then would be able to get a free unit next turn with their Dauntless Vanguard. So that is the main thing you need to look out for here. Just don't let them get units stacking up on their side of the board if possible. And then look out for that single combat. Alright, so they're wanting to do that right there. So this is the spell we've been talking about. It has that health potion, it costs 2 mana, and you have 2 units striking each other. It's not really going to do anything here other than heal them because our Vhagar has Spell Shield. Also, the reason we did that stun was just so we could play this. So yeah, first fight, anytime you see that they have 2 mana and they have cards in their hand that you're not sure what they are, always be aware that they could have single combat. So that's generally all you need to know for that first fight. Try not to have your units die, and watch out for single combat. Now up here, there are several different options that you can go with. We'll go for Mind Meld. So for right here, there's 2, but there's actually 3 options that can roll here. So we have Camavorian Soldier. The foe's ephemeral units have 2/2. This is often the most difficult. They can summon a lot of ephemeral units that can do a lot of damage. Also, if you're going down this way, know that they have a Mark of the Isles. Now, the Mark of the Isles is a 1-cost burst, give your unit 2/2 and ephemeral. Because of their special power of ephemeral units have 2/2, it essentially gives that unit 4/4. So it's a massive combat trick, so they can either push a lot of extra damage, or they're able to swing the fight in their favor as a combat trick if their unit's already going to die. So Camavorian Soldier, generally the most difficult. Here we have Sneaky Zeebles, or Zebbles. When the foe summons a unit, grant its keywords to the previous unit the foe summoned. This can be difficult. They have a lot of elusives. They're also able to summon units with lifesteal. So again, you want to have removal if possible, so they don't have a whole bunch of units stacking up and getting all these crazy keywords. Because they might summon one unit that's pretty weak, but it has like elusive and lifesteal, and suddenly they have that on a stronger unit and it can really be a pain. The third option that can roll here is Crown Guard, Tiana Crown Guard or something like that, which every time the foe attacks, they reduce the cost of their Crown Guards everywhere by 1. What that card is, it's a 8-cost, 8/8 with Tough and Overwhelm, and when you play it, they rally. So every time they attack, they have a lot of scout units. They're able to reduce the cost of that, and then by the mid-game, they're able to play these Crown Guards and be rallying, and it's a really strong unit. That one, it really is based on how strong your deck is. If you're able to keep them from attacking, then it's very, very easy. But if you are struggling and you have a bit longer games, that one is potentially the hardest. So that one really based on the power of your deck. Camavorian Soldier can be very tough, generally the hardest. It can push a lot of damage early, so if you have a slow deck, normally you want to stay away from this one. And then there's also the Sneaky Zebbles. Normally, I'll just go for whatever power I like better. Excuse me, sorry if you heard that cough. Normally I'll go with whatever power you need, but this is a situation where there are 3 different options that can roll here. Alright, we'll go with LeBlanc because that's a good power and LeBlanc is very strong. Alright, so here, since there's a shop there, I'm going to try to go this route. That'll also showcase you how difficult this one can be. But normally the Sneaky Zebbles would be the easiest road to go, but it can be difficult as well. But yeah, we'll go for the Camaborian Soldier. Alright, we're going to get rid of these two as they're fairly expensive. Here you want to have a lot of removal and any CC. If you can stun them, that's great. So if you're someone that's like Annie or Jin or Yasuo, someone with a lot of stuns, especially early game, it can be very nice. Because if you can stun an ephemeral unit, you've essentially killed it. Alright, they're starting with the attack token. I'm just going to pass here. I want to be able to use my darkness. Alright, I'm going to use this to kill their Islander so they can't give him, they can't support him and make him even more deadly. And then we'll throw out our Dark Bulb as essentially, oh, it was going to be a sacrificial lamb, but with that fearsome that we can't actually block that. So LeBlanc is pretty great, but we're going to want to get our Catalyzer out to start scaling up our darkness. Actually, I'm a little rusty with my Vhagar. What I should have done, Pokey Stick, and then played Vhagar, but it's fine. So here they have 1 mana. If they wanted, they could use Spirit of the Isles or Mark of the Isles, but they're both going to die, so it's not really needed. Always something to pay attention to, though, is how much mana they have and what spells do you know they potentially have in their hand. Alright, their Onslaught. They usually have a couple copies of this. Alright, we'll play my Vhagar so that our darkness is strong enough to kill them. So these two will kill each other, and then the Spectral Rider will kill itself since it's ephemeral. We will have to look out for, or they potentially will use Mark of the Isles to push more damage. They normally use it as a combat trick. Alright, so there's their Mark of the Isles. Grant an ally 2/2 and ephemeral. Since they're granting an ephemeral, it's getting an additional 2/2, so a 4/4 and draw. Yeah, pretty annoying. So we're gonna make that a bit more difficult for them to use.
The hour approaches.
Alright, we still want to get our Catalyzers out, increase our darkness damage.
Soon, Lord Vhagar,
The best lies are beautiful.
behold brilliance!
Accept your fate.
I am the destroyer of worlds!
I am everywhere. I am everyone.
Yeah, LeBlanc's pretty good.
Witness true power!
Silence. Death comes.
So I could kill LeBlanc here to get the rally.
Wasted effort.
I think I actually will.
Places to go, people to be.
This was a Vagar match, but now it's just transforming into the same infinite rally shenanigans of LeBlanc.
Be seeing you.
So we could just keep doing that, but we're gonna end it with the darkness. Alright, that one wasn't
Rose for the garden.
that one wasn't too bad. Sometimes they'll play a lot of their spectral riders and just flood the board very early with ephemeral units, and you can end up taking a large amount of damage. Don't we already have one of these? Sure. Alright, Zoe. Round end, create a random 3 or less cost celestial card in the foe's hand. Give it fleeting and reduce its cost to 1. So this is very strong for Zoe in a couple of reasons. For one, Zoe levels up when she sees you play, or when she sees herself play 10 different cards. Since she's creating a whole bunch of different cards automatically and their cost is so cheap, that's going to help her level up very quickly. Also, Zoe has Focusing Crystal. Every time she plays a spell, she gets 1/1. So normally, as soon as they play Zoe, you want to try to kill her. That's generally what you want to do. Now, it won't be too difficult for us, since we have a lot of removal. But if you're playing a deck that doesn't have any removal, it can be a bit difficult. So pretty much every round you want to see what card she made, because some of them can counter you pretty hard. Alright, I'm fine with just passing here and banking the mana. Alright, so they made Crescent Strike, so we have to be prepared to get 2 of our units stunned. Alright, we're going to play this to get our Vagar out. And we're just going to immediately kill Zoe. One thing to note, if you don't have a burst speed spell and it's just fast, quite often Zoe will be able to play a bunch of burst speed spells and buff herself up out of kill range. So just be aware that that definitely can happen. Also, another thing to always bear in mind, whenever you're at a boss fight, you're going to heal back up to full after the fight. So if you go into the fight with a good amount of health, you normally can be totally fine with taking some damage. So here, I'm not going to bother blocking the White Flame, even though it's going to do a good amount, because I know once I win the fight, I'm going to be healed back to full.
Places to go, people to be.
Oh, it's shimmering all over you.
Alright, so what they made Moon, Silver, or Sliver. So, not too bad. We're doing this to get rid of their spell shield.
Joey, look what I found. They're made of stars and make stars. Cool.
So they potentially will be able to buff up their Zoe, but we're going to save the darkness just in case they try to block LeBlanc with a White Flame. They will actually block with their Zoe sometimes, like relatively often.
What?
so hitting the white flame with that, that way LeBlanc can kill it.
Speak, stars. Speak, I say.
Alright, they made the charger. They can make some spells that can really screw you over, such as like the Crescent Strike, which we saw, but also one that silences your unit. Alright, so we're going to use this to kill that unit, since we won't be able to block. Well, yeah, we'll go with that.
There's no escape.
We're saving the mirror image for next round, and we'll just do an infinite rally combo. Alright, we're getting pretty lucky with the cards that they are creating. Hasn't been anything too terrible.
What a treat.
Alright, we'll just attack again,
Surprise.
get this over with as fast as possible, and move on to other battles. Also, one thing to note is after every boss fight,
The rose for the garden.
the boss fight reward will give you a item for your champion, as well as more copies of the champion in your deck. So right here, we have our two champions. It's going to give us an item for one of them. It's a little rough because it is a Vagar deck, but I mean, I guess we'll go with the Scout, but yeah, it's pretty strong. And then after every boss fight, you also get a power. So here for Viego, we're going to get another champion item from him, and then a power. And this isn't just the Galio adventure, it's, I believe, every single adventure, other than, obviously, Aurelian Soul, since every fight is a boss fight. Alright, we'll go with the Craftsman Favor, since we already have created cards cost less, so that'll just be free. Alright, for right here, I'm trying to remember if it's always these two, or if there is one other one that they have. So I will say with Mist Wraiths, this one you need to end the game quickly. If you don't, they will just spiral out of control. So when the foe's Mist Wraiths die, shuffle them back into their deck and the foe draws one. Mist Wraith, when I'm summoned, grant all allied Mist Wraiths everywhere plus 1 power. So this is only 2 mana, and they're just going to be having a ton of these in their deck, and they have a bunch of ways to revive them. They have other cards to kill them and revive them. So they are going to be scaling very fast. This is a ramp enemy. So if you're not ending the game quickly, you will eventually just get outvalued and outscaled. So if you can't go fast, try to avoid this. Now, the Mage Seeker is slightly the same way. So once the foe has played a 6+ cost spell this game, their spells cost 2 less, but also many of their units, like the Mage Seeker Inciter and a couple other ones, they have special effects of once you played a 6+ spell, they get a bonus. So like the Mage Seeker Inciter, once you played a 6 cost spell, they get 2/2. So a lot of their cards will buff up. And then also their 6+ power spells or 6 cost spells are very powerful. So you want to be ending the game before they start playing those, because once they do, yeah, it's going to be pretty rough. So both of these are ramp style decks, but I would say that Mist Wraiths is more difficult. Again, if you are confident in your ability, just go with whichever one has a better node after it. But if you're trying to do this relatively early, or you have a weaker deck, or you're just not comfortable with the champion, probably avoid Mist Wraiths, especially if you have a slow deck. Here we like the spells chest better than the money, so we're going to go for the Inciter. Alright, this is a decent opening hand. And we'll lead with a Catalyzer just to increase our darkness damage. So yeah, this is another unit that grant me 1/1 and Challenger once you've played a 6 cost spell this game.
Take a look at this. Contain magic. Discipline and steel.
We just want to get rid of their Challenger unit.
Petricite protects me. Track them down.
Alright, that's fine. We'll get a little bit extra darkness damage. And we'll use that to kill one of their other units before he scales out of range. Remember, every single round that these units are on the board, they're getting 1 extra health. Alright, yeah, we definitely want to get rid of Dauntless Vanguard. Honestly, this opponent has a lot of 6 cost spells to look out for. Reinforcements, though, is definitely one of them. Once they get up there, it fills their whole board with those cards. Oh, almost would have killed one of my own units there. Alright, how much... Alright, we're just going to get these out of the way so we don't have any blockers. Or they don't have any blockers. And I'm going to try to push as much damage as we can right here. So, another Mage Seeker. Once they play a 6+ cost spell, they get a Detain. That Detain is a capture card, which can be very, very strong. Can definitely screw over your plans. And there's the Detain. Alright, he's leveled up. Perfect. So now we'll be able to use our darkness straight on their Nexus. Alright, so we're going to stun them all before they all get buffed up. That way we're not having to deal with them, but we're not having to use some of our removal for them.
I am everywhere. I am everyone.
Throw darkness.
Alright, very nice.
Another rose for the garden.
So yeah, this one is fairly random. They have a lot of different 6-cost cards, and they have some of those 1-cost units. They're making new 6-cost cards in your hand. Ooh, that is fun, but we're going to go right here. So that one, just more of a ramp opponent, can be rough. One last thing with the Mist Wraiths, though, they do have some sustain and removal. They have Grasp of the Undying, so it's like drain 5 from a unit. And then they also have the spell where it hits your entire board and then heals their Nexus 3. They also have that, so they do have removal spells as well to just make your life a bit more difficult. Another trick you can do, so you can only see one node past where you currently are, normally, or at least you can see 2 ahead, but in this shop, since I haven't bought anything, it doesn't count as me being past it. One thing you can do, you can hit the leave button. It then shows up the next 2 that you have available, and then you can go back into the shop. Normally you can go. Okay, that was being a little slow and scaring me there for a moment. So even though you said you left, you can come back as long as you're on the same node and still purchase anything you need. I think I'm going to save my money for the Epic shop up there, though. Alright, so here is one much like over here, where there's 3 options. So there is Stargazer, normally the easiest. The foe's units have +1 health. Round start, create a fleeting spring gifts in the foe's hand. So fully heal an ally. So if you can't kill these units, they are going to just keep getting stronger and stronger and completely healing up. And then they have some specific units that can give you a real hard time, such as one, it's a 1-cost, and when it sees a unit get healed, it gets stronger power. So if you see that unit, you really need to get rid of it, as it's just going to scale up. And then the Stargazer, it gives units elusive when it sees them get healed. Ethereal Remitter, round start, the foe kills their weakest ally to summon a random follower that costs 2 more. So this is one where they're constantly summoning more and more expensive units. They are going to be random, but they do have a lot of strong Shadow Isles cards that can just kill your unit. Like they have the Vulture of kill one of their allies to kill one of your units. That's one they normally bring out quite often for about 7 mana. And this is one that's just, again, another ramp deck. Almost all of Galio actually is ramp decks. So that one, you need to be killing their units, otherwise they're just going to be killing them themselves and summoning stronger and stronger units. It's normally not too bad. Normally, Stargazer is the easiest in my opinion, but there is a third one here that is Fleet Feather Tracker. Round start, they summon a Fleet Feather Tracker. That is a 2-cost with Quick Attack and Challenger. It's a pretty rough deck. It's very aggro. They're able to summon a lot of units very quickly. Some of their units, well, most of their units get Challenger, and they're able to buff up their units quite quickly. They have a very annoying spell that doubles itself of grant all allies 1/1. So they're able to play that. It has the item that when you play it, it doubles. So they're able to bring out a full board, use that, and then buff up their whole board with like 2/2. It can be very rough. It's a very aggro-focused deck with a lot of challenger units. Probably, I would say, the most difficult out of the three. So if you see that one, definitely be careful. Again, if you're strong enough, just go for whatever has the best node behind it. But if it's you have a weaker deck, probably go for Stargazer. It's normally the easiest. And I'm going to go here because I want the Epic Shop. So I'll show you more of exactly how this one works. All right, I'm actually holding on to the Bloody Business for a bit more removal. Often, when you're fighting these units, if you're not going to kill them, don't damage them. So if you have some poke cards, or if you have some other ways that you're going to be dealing some damage, if you're not killing them, normally don't bother. So they have Mountain Goat with that Challenger, but the big thing is strike, create a gem in hand. That gem, 1 cost, heal an ally granted +1, so another heal. So this is the unit that I was telling you about. So Star Shepherd, 1 cost. When you heal an ally, grant me 2 power. Since this is the Galio adventure, these are going to sit on the board getting more and more health, so they can really become a pain to kill. Like right now, I can't even kill it. My darkness isn't strong enough. And so it's going to scale up to 5. But if this is on the board and they're able to keep healing their units, these will scale out of control and they will destroy you. So focus on trying to kill these. This is your top priority for this battle. Here, since this does 3 damage, I'm not going to bother using it since they're just going to be able to heal it up. This is their other bigger or more important unit. When you heal a damaged ally, give it elusive this round. So they can have some big units, they heal it a little bit, now you have to mess with elusives, and that can really be a pain.
History forgets, but the Black Rose remembers.
Alright, we're going to go with actually the Twisted Catalyzer. So that's going to take them to 3. Then if they try to heal, well, they actually don't have mana to heal, so we'll be fine. But if they did have 1 mana and they tried to use their Spring Gifts, since it's slow, would be able to snipe it with the Darkness.
Surprised to see me.
Osu, help!
I am everywhere. I am everyone.
So this battle is normally pretty easy. You just have to be aware of what the opponent is trying to do and really try to stop them from being able to do that. The biggest thing is making sure you're killing the Star Shepherds and not letting them scale up out of control, and also not damaging their units unless you can finish them off.
Smoke and mirrors. It's time.
So here we should just be able to do an infinite rally combo and just end the game. Although this here will be enough to kill them.
closer.
Alright, so now we should just be able to go to the shop and then fight Viego. Viego... Oh. Always getting more copies of your champion when you're not at a champion node or something. Very nice to have. Viego is normally the hardest opponent in this entire run. We don't really have... Yeah, we don't really want that. Sure, whatever. That's pretty good, actually. Man, I haven't seen Thorn of the Rose once. We don't need the Wizened Wizard normally. So, Viego, round start, the foe summons a ephemeral copy of the player's strongest follower that died last round. So again, you're trying to make sure your units don't die, because if they do, Viego is going to get a copy of them, and that can really screw you over sometimes if you have a very strong unit. Oh, excuse me. A very strong unit that then the enemy is using. So like you have a card with like Reckoner's Mark, where when you summon it, it strikes the weakest enemy. You have one of those, and then it dies. Now they have that unit being summoned that's going to have the same items and everything, and it can really be bad. Yeah, this is fine. Now, I will say that this is only the strongest follower that died, so your champions are not going to have an issue. So we're gonna use our Feral Prescience first. And we're gonna pass to see if we can darkness whatever they play. So that our 2-drop can make another darkness. So the big thing is if you can end the game before they play Viego for 6 mana, that is generally pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna not die. So this used to be a lot more difficult. I think Viego was either... I think it was 5 cost before, and so they'd get him out around earlier. One thing to note is, so they played the Soul Shepherd here. They have another card that's the Chemivorian Soldier. That card, they play it, it makes an Encroaching Mist, but that card has a Crystal Carrier, I believe it's called, where next round they get an extra mana gem. If they play that in the first round, you want to kill it, because you don't want them to get Viego out any sooner than they already will. Also, I'm about to play a LeBlanc. There's a high probability she's about to die. One card they have a Vengeance. Vengeance is a fast spell that just kills a unit. Normally it costs 6 to 7 mana, theirs costs 4. So anytime they have more than 4 mana, they potentially are going to play Vengeance. Just be aware of that. So I'm playing LeBlanc here. There's a high probability they're just going to Vengeance and immediately kill her.
History forgets, but the Black Rose remembers.
Okay, they didn't. Thank goodness. So yeah, that's one issue. LeBlanc does not have any protection.
What a treat.
So I'm actually so confident that they are going to Vengeance here. I'm just going to attack with both so that when she dies, we're going to get the attack token again. Otherwise, with her scout attack, we wouldn't get it. Wow, they're actually not going to do it. That's actually... that's awesome.
The black rose blooms once more.
Maybe they didn't have one. So these haunted tombs, it's revive the strongest dead ally. This can become an issue when you may be able to kill a Viego, but they already have a haunted tomb on the board. Sometimes you want to hold off and maybe not kill him until the tomb is destroyed and it's finished its countdown, because otherwise you might like be working on getting him down and then just summon another one, and yeah, then there's nothing really you can do.
The darkness consumes you. The hour approaches.
She waits for me beyond the mist, my queen.
So they're probably not going to attack, especially once we get the ephemeral, but I think we'll be able to... oh. So that exact copy actually was exact and had all of her bonus stats as well. I thought normally it just had her items. Interesting. So, some important things about Viego and how he works. So, each round, the first time an ally dies, summon an Encroaching Mist. The Encroaching Mist, every time they're summoned, they grant all Viegos and other Encroaching Mists everywhere. So that means Encroaching Mists that haven't been made yet, 1/1. So right now this has 1 health, 1 power. But Viego just went up by 1/1. Every round, whenever they play another one, all future Encroaching Mists are going to get stronger and stronger. If Viego levels up, it's pretty much game ending, you lose. So I've seen allies with a total of 20 power die. So this is power, not health. So if you're using like Frostbite before you kill a unit, that can help you. But when he levels up, again, each round, the first time a unit dies, summon Encroaching Mist. But round start, steal the strongest enemy this round. If it's a champion, kill it. So just every single round, whatever is the strongest on your board, if it is like here, this unit, he just takes it. It's now his for the round. If it was a champion, like LeBlanc right here, he would just immediately kill it. So, really strong, can kind of be a pain. So we're not killing him this round because of the Haunted Tomb. We're just wanting to get rid of our hand a little bit since we're creating like 3 cards every round.
Witness true power.
Alright, so there's the Vengeance, so costs 4, kill a unit. They have several copies of this. They also have a 7 cost slow spell, so they can't use it in response to what you do. But it's a slow spell, it's kill a unit, give all other units -2 power, or all enemy units -2 power this round. So it costs a lot for them to use it initially, but it has the Grifter's Mark on it, where when you use it, it shuffles 3 other copies of itself into the deck, and they cost 1. And it also has draw a card on it, so what they do, they play 1, your unit's dead, your other units, their attack is reduced, they draw a card, and they can potentially draw another one, and they can just start playing these only for 1 cost, and it can really end up very bad.
Does death follow me or peace?
So we'll just end the game right here, or this round, since we now can do just our infinite combo.
Such your fate.
Well, we don't need to make another one. Alright, so there is Viego down. When you're first starting out and not really knowing how he operates, he can be
Rose for the garden.
definitely a pain. When you actually know what all of his spells are and kind of the breakdown of how his AI operates, it's normally relatively easy. But yeah, definitely rough when you're first starting out. He often can be the most difficult part of the adventure. Alright, so we already have too many cards that we're generating every round, so we'll just go with the Sparring Student. Alright, so here, again, there is 3 options of what can spawn here. So Spiderlings, when the foe attacks, they summon a Frenzied Skitterer. So when I'm summoned, give other spider allies 1 power and enemies -1 this round. That -1 can mess you up because it can put you under the 3 power threshold, making it so you can't block. They have a lot of strong cards. It's more difficult than you probably think they would, or think it would be. We have Battlesmith, when the foe summons an elite, granted 2/2. Again, whole bunch of elite cards. Fairly straightforward, but can scale out of control. But the most difficult one that can spawn here is the Star Doggo. So it's the messenger. If they have 3 or more messengers on the board, they create a fleeting Starbone. That Starbone grants all of their celestial cards 1/1 and gives their units, their strongest unit, an item with a Hextech Fabricator. That one is normally the most difficult and can definitely just spiral out of control. So we're just going to go for the gold chest here, just so we have tons of money for the last shop in case there's something good. And I also want to show you the Spiderling. There's a lot of interesting cards that I want to showcase. Alright, that looks pretty good. So one thing to note, their Spiderlings, once they start summoning them, even though they look relatively weak, they all have a crystal carrier. So that means next round they get one more mana. Since they can summon so many of them, it really can mess up your game plan, because suddenly they have like full mana because they have so many Spiderlings. So one thing that can be a little annoying, they have, I believe it's a 2-cost card that is Capture. It captures the strongest enemy. Since it doesn't put a spell or skill on the stack here, it goes through Spell Shield.
The best lies are beautiful.
Alright, Brood Awakening, they're going to summon all their Spiderlings. So, not terribly strong, decent for a 1-drop, but if you see, they all have this Crystal Carrier. So if we let these live, next round they'd have 3 more, or 3 extra mana, which obviously can be a serious issue. It's going to get more low blocks.
My move.
Yeah, they have a lot of ways to summon spiders.
I whisper truth into lies.
That egg.
Another card to summon a Spiderling. So you see how they have so many different ways to summon their Spiderlings, and it really can become an issue when they have all of these spiders that normally you're not able to deal with, and they just start giving themselves tons of mana and playing way more powerful cards than they should be able to. Sorry, I just realized something awesome that we can do. So we can create the fleeting copy of her, and then use this so that it strikes the unit, but then dies. I believe they also have that 4-cost Vengeance that Viego did, so that is another thing to look out for.
Surprised to see me.
So this video is already getting pretty long, so we won't draw out these matches too much longer. We'll try to end these relatively quickly. So that's the first time they got their attack off. As you see, Frenzied Skitterer has that studded leather. So our units now all got 1 less attack, and theirs got 1 more.
Focus. So obvious. What a treat.
So we'll attack here and end the game. Galio, once you've played the game
Rose for the garden.
and done this adventure a good amount of time, it is relatively easy, but yeah, when you're doing it for the first time, it can be quite difficult, or even on a champion that isn't leveled up quite enough. I'm going to go with Legionary Change. So here, these are always the exact same. So we have Evershade Stalker. The foe's units have Nightfall summon a ephemeral copy of me. Much like the Camavorian Soldier at the beginning, with all their elusive units, they're quite often able to overwhelm you. In my opinion, this is the more difficult. I almost always go with the Dawn Speakers. It's just game start, the foe summons 2 Dawn Speakers. They have some other items on them to help protect them, such as Tough and Spell Shield, but it's just round end, grant other allies 1/1 if an ally died this round. So when you kill their units, they're able to scale up the rest of their board, but they don't have any offensive spells, so you don't really have to worry about them trying to kill your units other than by attacking. Normally it's not too bad. All you really need to focus on is killing their Dawn Speakers, and their special effect is gone. Alright, I guess I'll buy one of those since that's a decently strong power. Everything else is kind of mediocre, so I won't bother. We'll just go to my favorite activity of killing Dawn Speakers. Yeah, that looks fine. LeBlanc has definitely taken over the deck. Yeah, we'll play our Catalyzer here. I guess the Robemaker actually will do pretty well since we have a lot of cards or are playing a lot of spells.
I'll write my own story.
Words sharp as swords.
Alright, so if you ever have the opportunity you want to kill their Dawn Speakers, especially if they're attacking, they normally don't bother. So we're going to put this unit here so that we can kill one Dawn Speaker. Put our other one here. It will die, but it's blocking a good amount of damage and also going to hurt their Dawn Speaker. Since we're already killing a unit, we'll kill their other unit with a stronger attack. So we're able to get rid of one Dawn Speaker and reduce down the size of their board.
Places to go, people to be.
Slow down, will you?
What a treat.
Yeah, we'll just attack like this and see how they block.
My move. I whisper truth into lies.
And here we'll just use the darkness to kill their other unit. So even though they had units die, the Dawn Speaker has no one to buff up.
Be strong. These are dark times.
Classic misdirection.
So we're going to do the same thing we did before. Use our Bloody Business to get our LeBlanc to strike an enemy, thereby dying and rallying. Or, yeah, letting us rally.
Smoke and mirrors.
Again, with this fight, they don't really have any spells you need to worry about. They'll buff up their own units, but they don't have any aggressive spells to try to kill you, and they also don't really have any combat tricks. All their spells, I believe, are slow. You just can't let them
Surprise.
start scaling out of control with having a full board that's all getting buffed up. You need to focus always on killing the Dawn Speakers first, but it is generally pretty easy. It's normally
What a treat.
one of the easiest fights in the entire adventure.
It's time.
again, it's one you just need to know what the enemy is trying to do and make sure they're not able to succeed in doing that.
My move. Be seeing you. Another rose for the
Now, I have completed the Galio adventure with, I believe, every single champion and have that posted on the channel. So if there's any specific champion you want to see me playing these adventures with, it is on the channel. You should just be able to search like champion and then Galio or versus Galio and it will come up. Alright, we're just going to cut Thorn of the Rose. So, Galio, there's 3 different ways this fight works. So, he's essentially supporting one of 3 champions. One of them is Shyvana, one of them is Malphite, and the other one is Senna. Senna is all about removal spells and kill spells. So she has Vengeance. She also has the other spell that Viego has as well, the 7 cost. Kill a unit and reduce all the opponent's units, reduce them all by 2 power. So they have a lot of kill spells. They also are summoning Darkness. Malphite is all about control and landmarks. So Malphite, big unit, when they play him, he stuns one of your units, and then if he gets leveled up, he gets a card where he generates it. I think every round they have the attack token that stuns all enemies. So Malphite, very large unit, and can really mess you up at times. Malphite's normally the hardest. Shyvana, all about dragons and challenging your units and trying to just kill you. One thing to note, with all of the fights, they do have the Judgment spell. So what that does is one unit in a battle is able to strike all other units. So let's say you had 6 units attacking and they block with 1. They'd be able to use that spell to have their 1 unit strike all of yours. And so they'll sometimes do that with one of their champions, and it can just absolutely clear the board. Now that Judgment spell is like 8 mana, so normally they're not able to do that until later in the game, but that is something to be aware of. I believe it's just part of the Galio deck in all of his adventures. Alright, here we don't have any other 2-cost cards, or 2-cost units at least. So yeah, with Shyvana, they summon the Grand Plaza at the start of the game. So when they summon a unit, it gets +1 power and Challenger this round. So it is temporary, but if they get the attack token at the start of the game, it can be an issue. They also have a capture card, which can be quite annoying. So yeah, I'll try to play LeBlanc here. They might be able to challenge it and kill it.
lies are beautiful.
Learn to fear a dragon's rage.
Alright, so when Shyvana attacks, she gets 1/1. Now that is temporary, but she does have Fury, so when she kills a unit, she is granted 1/1. When she sees allies level up, or when she sees allies do 12 damage, she levels up. Her level up form, now when she attacks, she gets 2/2, and this round create a fleeting strafing strike. So that's right here. It's essentially the same as single combat, but this time, if the ally is a dragon, it also gets healed. So yeah, Viego getting killed Normally that's a bit more of an issue, but since we have LeBlanc, it's probably going to be fine. Another important thing to mention with these fights, round end, if the foe's allies have 20 or more total health, they summon a Galio. And so that can be pretty deadly. So you just want to make sure you're not getting, not letting them stack up too many units and getting too much of a health pool.
Smoke and mirrors.
Alright, so LeBlanc is going to level up if she's able to use Strike. And this is leveling up on her Scout attack, which will be very good.
I whisper truth into lies.
That means we can start the infinite combo train.
Classic misdirection.
So they do have a capture card. I believe it costs 2. And it's the like Egghead Researcher. And yeah, when you play it, it has the Iceborne Gauntlet. It just captures your strongest unit. Again, it goes through Spell Shield because it doesn't go up on the stack here. So that is one thing you really need to be mindful of at the start of the game. When you're playing your units, that is something they have and can really mess up your game plan.
A perfect puppet.
Alright, we're just going to get rid of their one unit here. Just so they can't block and we're able to end the game right here.
My move.
Alright, perfect.
It's time.
So this was just a bit of a guide for the Galio adventure and all the different battles, trying to let you know the game plan of the opponents and what they're trying to do, as well as any important spells you generally need to be aware of when you're fighting against them. I hope this helped you out, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for watching that whole video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, maybe hit that notification bell. We're putting out daily videos for Path of Champions, sometimes multiple videos every single day. And if you want to support the channel, hit that join button down below for more information. That's going to keep me here doing what I love, which is putting out content for all of you. I hope you all have a great day.